Hi everyone, and welcome, a very warm welcome to our Vision 2023 webinar. This is one of our favorite annual events that we run, and it's an opportunity for everyone to say hi on the chat, tell us where you're from, reconnect after the season's break, and also just it gives us a chance to tune in and connect with the year ahead energetically. In fact, the whole team are going to be on the chat today. We're all going to take part. We're actually all focusing our energy on the year ahead. It's really exciting. We've got an amazing program already set up for this year. Really excited about that. So I'm going to take a few minutes at the end of this webinar just to show you some of the exciting events we've got coming up this year. But most of this session is very practical. It's going to be scanning our energy, creating some time vortexes into the future, and coming up also with some practical things that we can do to kind of get our energy in tune our key for 2023. So let's see who we've got on the chat. There we are. We've got Gudrun, Gaella, Rachel, Jane, Carol, the very first people to post. So welcome to everyone. And yeah, if you've got any questions as we go along, please just let us know in the chat, and Kat will mark them up and we'll see how we get on with the questions. So it's a very interactive session. I'll just launch the slides right now, and we can show you what we've got in store for you. So here we go. This is our 2023 Vision webinar. So we're going to do an introduction, which I've just done, and then we're going to do a whole body scan and then a vibrational level scan of our own energy. And then we're going to take that scan, we're going to see how we are, and then we're going to relate that into 2023. We're going to create a time vortex. We're going to use some clean language, really good technique for tuning our energy and to finding out somatically how we're feeling about the year ahead. And then we're going to use some of the clean language techniques to ask ourselves what would we like to have happen, come up with 3 practical steps that we'd like to have happen next year, and then, or this year I should say. And then what we're going to do then, hopefully if we've got time, is I'd just like to show you a few of the things that we've got in store for you for the next year. Okay, so that's the program, the overview. So we do it every year. I don't know if you've been on any of the previous ones, but if you have, it's probably something you'd like to come back to, just to try and find out how we are, just to arrive in the space. Lots of happy New Year's in the chat. Love it. Love it. Okay, so I thought we'd just do some warm-up exercises. We're just going to shake out a little bit first, just to loosen up before we get into the scanning. So I've got my camera set up, so I should have in a good place. Yeah, here we are. So I thought if you're just got a bit of space just to stand up, and we can just start off by just doing some external shaking. So we're just going to go into any areas that feel stiff or you feel a little bit obstructed, and we're just going to shake those out. We can go down from top of the head. Make sure you get the jaw relaxed, always a good one to release, relaxing the throat. And we're going to work down, relaxing the shoulders, elbows, wrists and fingertips, and opening and relaxing the rib cage. So I'm stretching it backwards and forwards like this, just loosening everything up, opening up the hips, and then relaxing the knees and the ankles, and then the whole body, just shaking it out, shaking any tension out, and just coming and arriving into the space. Okay, now you may like to do some of these exercises standing up. We can do them standing up or sitting down. I'm going to probably do most of them standing up myself, just to get a whole feel of the energy there. We'll take us through step by step, and see how we get on. So here we go. I'm just going to relaunch the slides. Okay, so what we're going to do first of all is we're going to arrive into the space. We're going to find out how we are. We're going to ask a very simple question. How are we? We're going to do an open whole body scan, and we're going to draw our energy. Okay, so I've got my trusty clipboard here, and I've got extra special lot of paper because there's going to be quite a bit of scanning and energy work exercises in the next 45 minutes or so. So first of all, if you just have a lovely big blank piece like this, and what we're going to do is I'm going to lead you through just doing a complete whole body scan. I'm going to stand up. You can do it sitting down if you like. And this is really just to arrive in the space, get in touch with our whole energy field. And then once we've done that, we can go into more detail. Once we've done that, then we can open up the time vortex and just see what's happening with our relationship with the year ahead, okay? Because that will give us a really good way of taking some practical steps to clear the energy field out into the future. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to stand up to do mine. I'm going to keep the screen on just like this. Try and, you'll find that it's best if you just close your eyes, take your eyes off the screen, whichever way you're looking, your phone or your laptop or your tablet. Okay, and I'm closing my eyes too. And what we're doing now is we're just arriving in the space. So just let the day, all the things that have been happening, maybe over Christmas or over the New Year, just let them just settle. Okay, and just coming into the present, arriving in the present. Excellent. Okay, so now we're going to do a whole body scan. We're going to do it a couple of ways. We're going to do this so-called photocopier method by scanning down through the whole body. We're also going to do the so-called flash method where we just open out to the whole field. We're just going to see if we can get a shape or a feeling of how our energy is. Okay, so we're just standing nice and comfortably. You can do it sitting as well. Closing our eyes, and then imagine, first of all, way above your head. You want to really think about 1 meter, meter and a half above your head, because you can get the upper part of the whole field there as we come down through the crown chakra, through the upper part of the body, okay? So we're bringing our attention out, right out to the top of the field, and we're going to use a photocopy method. We're going to go scanning down, so we're going down towards the top of our heads now, okay? And then reaching the crown chakra, and then slowly exploring the whole of the cranium, going down through the top of the head, just seeing how your actual brain fits and how comfortable it feels within your skull. Okay, I'm going to go down through the sense organs, so let's just tune into our eyes, and then our ears. And then we're going down through our sinuses and our nose, down into the mouth. So just checking out all of those sense organs in the head there. Okay, very good. And now we're slowly scanning down through the neck, checking out the whole cervical spine and the throat. Scanning down. And then getting down to the shoulders. And then we're going to scan down our arms, down into the hands and fingers. Just notice if there's anything of any obstructions or weakness there. And then we're going to scan down through the shoulders, through the whole of the torso now. So we're tuning through the upper chest area and the upper back. I'm going down through the lungs and heart area, checking out the lungs and the heart. And then the diaphragm. Okay, and then scanning down through the lumbar spine and through the digestive organs, all through the digestive organs, we're moving downwards until we get to the pelvic floor. Okay, now let's go deep into the hips, just see what's happening in your hips there. And then down into the knees, ankles and feet. Okay, so if you're anything like me, you've probably got lots of different information, different feelings and sensations as we go down. So now we're going to just zoom out a little bit and do what's called the flash method, where we relax and we just tune into the whole field and we just see which parts of the body energy could be out in the field, it could be inside your physical body, wherever you feel. It could be a weakness, a blockage, it could be a sensation, maybe heat, cold, it could be anything really that stands out from your general wholeness of your field. Okay, so let's just take a moment just to do that flash method, just slowly spreading out through the whole field. Very good. Okay, so now taking all that information, we're going to relax, ask ourselves the question, how are we? What is our energy field like? That's a clean question. What is it like? And now turn that into an image. It can be an abstract image or it can look like you. It's up to you. And then once you've got a clear image in your head, then it's time to take your piece of paper and then we can come back together and draw our whole body scan, which is our first scan of the day. So we're going to just draw that, and I'll do it with you, just like. Okay, so this is my whole body scan. I definitely need help here, you can tell. Thank goodness we've got the Wednesday class tomorrow, right? So, in fact, I'm going to put a smiley face on it because I do feel, pretty happy really. So I'm going to put a smiley face right on there. I hope you can see that. There you go. Okay, yeah, absolutely, Kat. I think you need to shout, so I'm going to book in with Kat straight away. There we go. Okay, cool. Right, so that's the whole body scan. So let's just put the slides up and we'll see what's next with the slides. Okay, so now this is an interesting question. This is based on traditional Chinese medicine to do an analysis of basically how you feel. And I've got a poll here. Which of these best describes your key field? So this is where we find out generally how the group is going into the new year. So here we go. Are you ready? I'm going to run this poll. Which of these best describes your key field? Okay, so is it balanced and strong, obstructed or blocked, weak or deficient, cold or slow, overactive or hot? And let's have a look what we've got as a group. And then we can analyze it in TCM. That gives you a few, and we've got some little hints for the new year based on traditional Chinese medicine that we want to share. And I'm just trying to figure out what I am at the moment, what I would, yeah, I think I know what I would classify myself as. Okay, I think I'd probably vote for number 5 at the moment, but it could be just because I'm so excited about doing the webinar. You never know. Okay, so look, we've got a really big spread here. We've got pretty good 28% of you reporting that you feel balanced and strong. Excellent work. Okay, and we've got the most though, the biggest is obstructed or blocked, and we've got quite a few people weak or deficient and quite a few cold and slow. That's interesting, isn't it? And only a few overactive and hot. So what does that mean? Okay, so we've got a TCM explanation of that general pattern. So if you're feeling balanced and strong, congratulations. Okay, let's hope you can keep it like that. Obviously, if you're feeling obstructed, that's usually related to liver qi stagnation. It can be other things, of course, but that's the most common thing that you need to do. And the recommendation in according to Chinese medicine is to get out and move, So perhaps join the Wednesday class tomorrow. We'll try and do as much movement for you as we can. If you're feeling weak or deficient, 13% reported that. Basically, you need to build up your energy, look after your kidney energy, especially this time of year, look after your diet, and also breathing is really important to get the qi into the body. And then we get into the cold or slow, and a surprising 15% voted for that. And that's a yang deficient sign, which is often related to kidney and spleen. You basically need to warm yourself up, keep out the cold. Warming foods would be a really good idea. And if you're overactive or hot, you need to chill out. And that's when you need more yin tonification. So you need rest and any yin tonifying foods. Watch out for alcohol and spices. Maybe that could be over the Christmas period that's caused that. Okay, so here we go. That's a little snapshot of where we are. If you'd like to join the Wednesday class tomorrow morning, we'll try and do as much as we can to help you. Okay, so what have we got next? Okay, great. So now we've got the level scan. Now this is really important because what we're going to do now is take this scan, which is our overall scan, and we're going to see where and what level things are resonating on. Okay, so I think I've done a picture here. So basically what you need to do is just simply put across. What I do is I just put a cross like this on the page and then label it PEMS for physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. Okay, and then what we can do then is we can scan through each of the levels, and we'll have a chart like this. Okay, which we can then take into our time vortex and feel the resonances on different levels into the future, which will give us an insight into how we can regulate our ki, different levels of our ki going into the new year. Okay, so I'm gonna just sit down, I think, for this one. And what I'll do is I'll talk you through it. I'm going to do it myself, and I recommend you close your eyes when you do it, just so you get away from the screen and really arrive where you are. Okay, so and what we'll do is we'll do each level, we'll open our eyes and we'll do a little sketch, and in the end we'll have 4 little sketches, and then we can compare them with the whole body scan, and it gives you an idea then of anything that's happening in your scan that's vibrating on one or more level, which is really interesting to know. Okay, so here we go. Are you ready? Excellent. So let's start off by first of all closing our eyes again. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stand up. I just feel like standing up. I'm going to stand up. And I think as there's plenty of you that are pretty obstructed there, it's probably a good idea that you do stand up and just move about a little bit before you scan, if you're feeling a bit obstructed. And we're going to go scan through the 4 levels now. I'm going to draw each one in turn. Okay, we're going to do a flash scan, so we're going to tune in. We've already tuned into our whole energy. We're going to take it up the levels and see what kind of different information we get as we ask ourselves, what is it like? Okay, here we go. So we're closing our eyes, arriving again in space, tuning into our whole field. Very good. Okay, and now we're scanning through our body on the physical level. Okay, so now as you do that, notice if any areas that you picked up on the whole body scan kind of light up or become noticeable, or maybe you'll find other areas that you didn't really feel before on the physical level. So let's just tune in on the physical level. Okay, excellent. Ask yourself, what is my ki like? What is it like on the physical level? Turn that into an image. Okay, and then we're going to open our eyes and we're going to draw that image in the physical square of the box. Okay? So take your chart and draw in your physical level scan. Okay, got it? Excellent. Okay, excellent. So now it's time to move up onto the emotional level. and we'll see how we get on. So again, standing or sitting, a little bit of a shake. Closing our eyes again, arriving into the space again, tuning into our whole field. Okay, and now we're going to shift up onto the emotional level. So we're tuning into our emotional level key. Again, notice if there's any areas of resonance on the emotional level, any movements. Okay, and then we ask the clean question, what is our key like? What is it like on the emotional level? And see what kind of answer you get there. Turn that into an image. Or it can be words. You got it? Okay, excellent. So now it's time to put that in our emotional level box. Okay, excellent. Okay, excellent. So now we're going to go up another level. So we're going to go onto the psychological or the mental level. So this is the thoughts, our thoughts patterns. It's one level up from the emotional level. So again, shaking out, arriving in the space. Okay, and now we're tuning in onto the mental level. So just see how your whole body energy feels when you tune into the thought level, whether that has any different resonances from the first two scans. Ask yourself, what is that like? Turn it into an image. And we're going to draw it in the third box. Okay. So interesting. Such an interesting exercise. Really worth doing every now and then, at least once a year anyway. Good. Okay, here we go. That's it. And then finally, we're going to go on to the spiritual level and see what is happening on that level. So again, we want to really open our awareness out into the field as well, just in case you pick up any chakra information, which is out in the field, or anything out in the etheric field. Again, standing, arriving in the space. Very good. Okay, so now tuning in on the spiritual level, whatever that means to you, and see what our key is like. Okay, so arriving, tuning in on the spiritual level. Asking ourselves, what is our key like? Okay, got it? Okay, turn that into an image and then draw that. Okay, now what you might find is each one is very different, but you might also find, as I've done today, which doesn't always happen, is you get themes that resonate through one or more of the levels. And that indicates that there's something significant happening. It could be a chakra, could be a part of the body, could be a meridian. But let's just have a look now. Have a look at both your whole body scan, which in my case looks like that. So there's different things happening with the throat, the eyes, and the chest, as well as the hips. And then each of those different things popped out in different orders as I went through the different levels, you see. So something that you can kind of map out where there's disturbances in your field or strong parts of your field, whatever, through the different levels. So let's pop the slides back up. Okay, so now the next question I'd like to ask you is, thinking about the 4 levels, which level felt the clearest or the smoothest? Which one gave you the most space, the most easiest? Was it the physical, emotional, mental, or spiritual level? So let's run that poll and we'll see where the strengths are in the group, which level felt the clearest or the smoothest. Here comes the poll. So let's see, this is so fascinating to see the strength of the group. We've got nearly 70 people online at the moment, so it'd be really fascinating to see how it comes. And look at that. Look how cool the group is. You see, this is Shiatsu practitioners for you. Look at that. We've got well over half of you having the spiritual level is the clearest and smoothest level. You know what I'm going to ask next, don't you? You can guess what the next question is. It's going to probably be a mirror image of the last one. But look at that. That's so fascinating. And okay, so let's just go to the next one, poll number 3, which is, which did you feel the most challenging of those 4 levels? Okay, so it's probably going to be a mirror image of that, but we'll run it anyway and see what happens, because it's good to think about that. Which level felt the most challenging when you tuned into it? So there we go. Look, this is what we obviously need to focus on, working on our physical level here as a group. So interesting, isn't it? Look at that. What an interesting pattern. Okay, now this is really, really good groundwork, because what we're going to do now in the next 20 minutes towards the end of the webinar is we're going to take all that information that we've got. We've got lots of information here, both as a group, which is super cool, and also individually. I can't wait to see what happens with my scans. And what we're going to do is open a time vortex, and we're going to project those levels into the next year, and we're going to see what it's like. In other words, what it's like to take those levels through the next year. Okay, so here we go. Look, first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to explore 2023 as a time vortex. So what we're going to do is I'm going to open up a time vortex for the whole group. I'm going to join in with you, okay? And then we're going to ask these questions, these clean questions. And these all come from clean language. And they're a way of kind of getting a somatic feeling about your energy as you do various things or ask various questions. Okay, so it's really interesting. So I'm going to take another piece of paper, a clear piece of paper, and that's my 2023 so far. Okay, and we're going to explore it and use some clean questions. Okay, so let's open up the time vortex first of all. I'll do it with you. I'm going to close my eyes, and I suggest you do the same. Close your eyes, okay, and then what we'll do is we'll come back to those questions, and I'll ask you the questions while you've got your eyes closed, okay, so you can get a real feel for it, and then we're going to share some stuff on the chat. Okay, so now what I'd like you to do is do what I'm going to do, which is basically close our eyes. We've got a really good connection with our energy on different levels now, so we're going to really arrive in the space and just really settle ourselves. Okay, excellent. So now let's open up a time vortex. So what we're going to do is we're going to completely relax. This is the first important thing, is to just relax in ourselves, arriving at this moment. We're not doing any judgment at all about the year ahead at the moment. We're keeping it as clear as we can. And we're going to imagine it. And I like to imagine it like a tube, like a tube or like a channel or tube going into the future. We've got the whole year ahead of us. And at the moment, it's completely clear. It's just a vortex that we're opening up. Okay, excellent. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to ask ourselves a very simple, clean question, which is, what is it like? What is that year like, that time vortex like? Just sit with that for a moment and just give it a bit of time to allow the information to come to you. What is it like? Okay, now keep your eyes closed, and I'm going to load up the slide again. I'm going to ask all of those questions, and I'm going to do it with you. Okay, so we've got what is it like? Anything strong comes up, any information, you can just open your eyes and draw or write anything that comes into your mind, okay, or into your body. So what is it like? What kind of year is it ahead of you? What kind of year? Okay. Does it have a shape? What shape is it? Does it have a color or more than one color? Okay. Okay, arriving again, thinking of that year. It's probably got some kind of shape to it now, maybe even a color and some kind of, it's getting more concrete, kind of more structured now. Does it have a sound? Is there a sound that you can associate with the year ahead? Okay, and does it have a texture? Is it smooth, bumpy, coarse, rough, or maybe more than one texture? So what's the texture like? Okay, so what is it like? What kind of year is it? What shape is it? And what color or colors? Does it sound like anything? And does it have a texture? Okay, excellent. So just take a moment to take a piece of paper and just spend a few minutes just writing down any of the impressions. Some of them you probably didn't have very much information, but others might have had a very strong information. This is a really important stage in the whole process because what it does is it makes the year into a thing, almost like an actual thing that has qualities, because then once we've done that, we can then match those or resonate those with our vibrational levels. I think that's a very strong experience of how we can prepare that energy, time, space. Okay, so just spend a minute drawing it. Okay, and we're just going to share those experiences in the chat when you're ready. I can tell you what happened to me. It suddenly started getting rounder. I had it as a vortex, like a tube. And as I asked myself what shape it was, it just turned into more of a round thing. So I had to change the shape of it into more of a round thing. It definitely had a red and blue kind of color to it. And then what happened was, when I really thought about it, is it felt a little bit tighter. And the more I said what kind of it had a kind of tight red and blue feeling, but it was more round. So I don't know if anything happened. The texture was fairly smooth. Oh, right, look at that. Cat had a round feeling too. So just put some anything that any strong experiences that you had from these questions. What is it like? What kind of year is it? A cylinder, there we go, Alexander. Okay. Any colors? Round and getting wider and silky. That sounds pretty cool to me. A round rainbow light, a white sphere. Look at that. That looks pretty clear, doesn't it? Textures, any textures? Okay, here we go. Basti's posting cone shape, blue and dark, slow moving, dense, becoming yellow and more expanded through the year. Well, that sounds good, Basti, doesn't it? And a clear light towards the end. Excellent. Blue and grey and wavy, red and yellow, red colours. Happy, contented hum. We've got a sound. Thank you, Doreen. Yeah. Like a cloud, Karen Elisa. Grey and fuzzy, then a green path. Oh, look at that. It's a very organic one from Karen Elisa. Gudrun. Fine and friendly to my skin. Oh, that's really good. That's very kinesthetic. Like a knitted texture. Silver and white. Sand texture. We've got some interesting textures coming here. Golden white. Round, red and orange and purple. And the sea sound, we've got familiar sound. Sound was yeah, I like that. Open bright white. Look at that, Pascal. That's a good year. Empty, fillable tube, green and brown. Oh yeah, I love it. Okay. And Aura got Scottish windpipes. Look at that. Rhythms, got some rhythm, Sylvie. Yellow, Catherine. Okay, excellent. So look, we've got some really good images and textures and everything now. So now we need to move on to the next stage, which is now that we've created the time vortex, we've got our connection with the vibrational levels. So now it's time to explore vibrational levels going into that space that we've created, that information space that we've created. Okay, so here we go. This is the next stage. Okay, but before we do that, let's just get an overview of how clear your shiatsu vision was. In other words, and clear means easy to visualize. In other words, was the exercise, did it enable you to clearly visualize aspects of your year? Okay, and it doesn't matter if it's not that clear yet, because hopefully we'll get to another stage. But let's just check in with you. Just wanted to check in and just say how clear was your shiatsu vision so far? How clear is your shiatsu vision? How easy is it to visualize using that exercise? So let's do that. We're just going to because that will give me some information on how to ease into the next stage of the exercise. And as I say, it doesn't matter at this stage if it's not clear, because that's all part of the next stage. Okay, pretty good. Okay, look at that. We've got 57%, slightly over, saying that they're getting a clear feeling for next year. As I say, it doesn't matter, but it's worth knowing at this stage. Okay, excellent. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the 4 vibrational levels again. So you need another vibrational level chart. Okay, just a simple cross will do it. Okay, and then the next main stage of the exercise is scanning our key into that space that we created. And that's really quite a powerful and exciting thing to do, because what we'll feel if there's any obstructions or any smooth parts, any really positive and smooth parts of our key that we put into that year. Okay, again, I'm going to stand up. And I'll just go through the exercise. I'll do it with you. I can't wait, I can tell you, to see what happens. I've got my picture of my year here, and it sounds like many of you got really quite a vivid impression of the year. So let's try out what happens when we enter into that year on different levels. Are you ready? Okay, so here we go. I'm going to stand up again and get ready to scan into the year. Okay, so we've got the 4 vibrational levels. We've got that year ahead of us, that shape, that texture, that color, that sound. So let's enter into it with those 4 levels and see how we feel as we move into it. What's it like to move into it on those levels? Okay, so let's go. Okay, so I'm going to take you through as I do it. Let's do it together as a group. So first of all, we're just arriving again in the space, closing our eyes. A little bit of shake out. Okay, so here we are. We have our year in front of us, whatever shape and color and texture it is. So we're going to conjure that up. We're going to imagine that in front of us. okay? Even if it's just very vague, it doesn't matter. Whatever feeling it is that you have of this year ahead of you. Okay, and we're going to tune in first of all to our physical level. Okay, and then we're going to imagine that we're going into that space, into that time vortex, and see what happens with the resonances in our energy field. Okay, so here we go. We're going into the year ahead on our physical level. Just see what happens. Okay, what is it like on the physical level to enter into your energy space of that year? Okay, turn that into an image or into some words, and we're going to draw that down here on the first, on this first box, the physical box. Okay, got it? Okay, so that's our physical energy going into the space of the year. So now we're going to go up onto the emotional level and see what happens as we enter into the space. Okay, are you ready? So again, arriving, shaking, just arriving into the space, renewing that time vortex that we have, tuning in on our emotional level, okay, and now enter into that space and just see if there's a difference to what happens to your energy. Does it contract more? Does it expand more? What kind of thing, what's it like? What kind of thing happens as we go into that year on that level? Very good. So what happened? Turn that into a picture, and we're going to draw that in the second box, which is the emotional level going into our time vortex year. Okay, got it? Excellent, well done. So we've got 2 more levels to take into that vortex, and then we'll be able to answer those questions, those 3 questions. Okay, so here we go. So now we're going to tune in onto the mental level. That's our thoughts, our concepts. We're going to tune into that, just shaking out, arriving in the space, creating the feeling of the year, the vortex of the year, tuning in onto the mental level. Okay, and then once we've got tuned to the mental level, go into that space, into that year ahead space, and see what happens to your energy on that level. What is it like? Okay, excellent. Draw the turn that into a picture, and that's your mental level. Okay, excellent. Just one more level left, and that's the spiritual level. So again, we're just going to shake out. We're going to arrive into the space again, create that feeling, that texture of the year, that sound, that color, that shape, that feeling. Okay. And now we're going to tune in on the spiritual level and enter into that space again. See what happens. Okay, excellent. And notice a difference between how your energy changed as you went in on the spiritual level compared to the other three. I'm going to draw that. And now we're just going to reflect back on that experience and just see now we can have a really clear idea of what's going to happen. And I tell you what, I had the most extraordinary experience because on the physical level, I had a real contraction there. And the emotional level, it just expanded out into pure excitement for the year ahead on the emotional level. So I've got to be careful of not getting too overexcited. Mental level there expanded, but I had a kind of focus, a kind of a more of a contractive focus. And the spiritual level was a mixture between expansion and structuring. I've actually felt quite surprised by that. But this was the most dramatic. And then you may have had this similar experience, like one of the levels just, you felt everything kind of contract. And other levels, you just went, wait. It could have been on any of those. Maybe the spiritual level, something glowing, could have been any of those things. And I've got a poll for that so that we can get a quick snapshot of the group, which is always an amazing thing to do. So there we are. We've taken each level into that year. Okay. So which level felt the clearest or the smoothest? Or the most expansive, okay, of those three levels. I'm going to run that poll. Let's have a look. This is in a group poll. Let's see. So when you went into that time space, what was the clearest or the smoothest or the most expansive or the most active, whichever? Look at that. Look at that. Again, look. Pretty evenly strong there on emotional, mental, and spiritual. No one's voted physical so far. So there we are. We know what we've got to do. I already know what I've got to do next year. I've got to look after that physical level and do some careful exercises on the physical level to match that emotional level. And I'm sure you must have had a similar experience of a real realization of how we can really make the most of next year. Okay, so you know what we're going to ask next, don't you? Which level felt the most challenging? Of those, when you went in, anywhere did you get the most contraction? We can guess where that's going to be. Okay, the most contraction, or the most, the one that felt the most difficult, or the one that you think is going to be the most challenging next year. So look at that. Yep, I think a lot of us really do need to look after our physical level next year. So it's really worth doing, really worth thinking about, and also. Plenty of us need to also look after the other levels as well, the higher vibrational levels. Okay, excellent. Thank you very much. So interesting. I've learned so much about next year already, or this year already, that I can put into action. And that's the next thing we're going to do, is we're going to do a little meditation. Here we are. We're going to do a meditation. Yeah, if you've got any particular things you want to share them on the chat, and then Kat can look after them. We've only got 10 minutes left now, so I'm going to move into the final meditation, which is we're going to actually come up with 3 practical things based on these vibrational level things. We're going to clear a bit of space just to spend a few minutes just giving ourselves some space to meditate, and then just come up with 3 things that you'd like to do practically that would make 2023 clearer for you. Okay, so I'm going to do it with you, and we just see what comes up if we create some space and a little bit of quiet to ourselves. Okay, so here we are. We're going to just again arrive into the space. I'm going to sit down this time, I think, and we're going to close our eyes, just settling our breathing. Okay, in a very, very exciting hour we spent together, we found out a lot about ourselves as a group, and we found a lot out about ourselves and about the year ahead. So let's just allow that to settle for a moment. We're going to relax, just really relax. Really relax and allow that information to just settle into our energy. You're really relaxing. Okay, now just thinking back about those experiences of bringing our different levels into the year ahead. Can you think of 3 things, 3 concrete actions that you'd like to take to help yourself make the most of next year, or this year coming up, this next year? Let's just allow those thoughts to occur. Okay. So if you can think of 3 things, I'm going to write down 3 things here. You can keep them, and if you want to just put the vibrational levels that you want to affect next to it, we want to help. And it can be specific or general things that you're going to do. Okay, excellent. So I hope you found 3 things. I've got 3 things. I can share them with you. There probably come as no surprises, considering the contraction that I had on the physical level here. I've definitely got to do some regular exercise. So the first thing I've got to do is some nice regular exercise to keep some of this physical stuff from contracting, somewhere to channel the excitement. And also I want to try and balance out this mental, spiritual level as well by doing some meditation. So I've got a really clear idea of some of the things that I'd like to do, and I hope you've got some too from that. If you've got anything that you'd like to share on the chat, that would be amazing. We've got a couple of questions already. Let's have a look. Okay, yeah, okay, cool, okay, yeah. Okay, looks like Diana's already answered it, actually. She's answered a question for Gerald, so that's fine. Excellent. Yeah, brilliant. Okay, cool. Looks like Dinah's answering them anyway, so that's fine. Okay, great. Thank you very much. So we've just got a little bit of time left just to wrap everything up. So here we go. Let's have a look. So hopefully we can go into next year a little bit clearer. Let's just find out what kind of effect do you think now that you're about any clear about next year, or about the same, or not so clear? Just see how you feel. Again, it's a process, isn't it? So you may find that you've got quite a lot of information to process there, but it looks like the vast majority are saying that it's clearer for you. So that's absolutely great. Okay, just a quick check-in. We've got 62 people here. Let's find out whether we're just preaching to the converted here and that you're all members of New Energy Work. But let's find out. I just want to find out, because I've got some news for the upcoming program, which I'd love to share with you in the next 5 minutes that we've got left. So just have an idea if there's anyone who's not sure whether they're a member or not. Just email us and we can find out. I know there's been a lot happening in COVID. We've had thousands of people literally joining various different as free members, and we've had all sorts of memberships. So look, we've got about 41%. 50 of you are either free or not sure. Okay, great to have premium and professional members there as well. Look at that, 44%. It's always worth knowing who's on the webinar. And so now it's time for the last few minutes for us to just share what we've got in store for you next year. We've got a lot of highlights, and this is just a selection of the stuff that we've got organized. Really excited about this. In January, we've got the European Shiatsu Congress, and can you imagine, I can't even imagine that it was actually the beginning, right in the first year of the pandemic, that we did our first partnership with the European Shiatsu Congress, which was actually in Amsterdam, if you remember that year. And we did a whole partnership with them, spreading the word of the Congress to an international audience. It's particularly difficult to get there that year, of course. And we're going to do exactly the same this year. It comes around every 3 years. And we've got a lovely partnership working with the team there, the hardworking team at Kiental. So we've got events. We're going to meet the team in January, and then later on in the year, we've got a special partnership. Okay, February, we've got a unique course. The very first time we've ever done this. I think it's probably the most important course we're likely to do at the moment, which is we're going to actually do an online course on Shiatsu and the climate emergency. Because if you're a Shiatsu practitioner, you'll know that you are right, or we are right in the front line. We're getting more and more clients now with eco-anxiety. We've got the skills. In fact, as Gerard was just talking about in the chat there, we've got the skills to really help people with treating stress and trauma, treating eco-anxiety. Some really exciting stuff coming up from Cindy Engel that we want to share with you as well on how to regulate our own nervous system. We're also going to access some other external information to Shiatsu. We've got some special guests coming up on that course to help us orientate our Shiatsu business in an ecological way, so that we can basically model the right behavior in order to do the best we can for our clients and for ourselves, moving into this very, very challenging time on the planet. So we've got that. We're working really hard to make that as interesting and relevant as we can in February. In March, we've got a guest spot with Cindy Engel. Dinah will tell you that she's just been editing Cindy's book. Cindy's one of our favorite presenters. She's come up with some absolutely awesome stuff. Dinah was just reading it to me earlier today, some of the stuff out of her book, which is just about to be published. Really amazing stuff about the nervous system and how perception works. Really looking forward to that. And then we've got a partnership with with Gabriella, Brigitte and Nicola, who are going to be doing a human potential workshop in Berlin later in the summer. So we're going to get them onto a webinar in March to share some of the cutting edge, high level energy work that they're doing. And then April, really happy, very, very happy. And I can see that Carol Lisa's on the webinar. So hi there. It's been really great. She's one of our premium members, and we did a whole session just at the end of last year on giving recommendations. It was a really awesome session, and it's been really nice to work with her. She's the events organizer for the ABTA, and I'm so happy to announce that we're actually partnering with the ABTA, and our next ISCO is going to be ISCO USA. We've done ISCO Swiss, we've done ISCO Italia, and so now it's going to be ISCO USA. We're going to have some hand-picked presenters from the USA sharing the American scene, Shiatsu scene with the whole world. So we're looking forward to that. We thought we'd also put in a course later on in May and June on treating clients with chronic disease. We're going to have some guest presenters from our wider team to help us with that. We've got some people lined up for that. And then in the summer, we're going to devote the whole summer school to a link with Kiental, the European Shiatsu Congress Kiental. So that's going to be awesome. So even if you can't get to Kiental, and even if you are going to Kiental, you can get a preview of some of the presenters, and if you can't make it for any reason, then you'll get a taste of the European Shiatsu Congress on new energy work. And then in the autumn, we've got another one of our team, Philip van der Biele, is actually writing a book right now. Again, Dinah's been editing that for him, and it's going to be another awesome book. And we're going to build a course around his book launch in September. And then in November, December, we're going to finish up by doing an advanced Shiatsu treatment course. So lots, and that's just a taste of what's happening. Okay, for those of you that are premium professional members, we've obviously got all of the regular special events. We've got small group tutorials for the premium members. We've got the individual one-to-one support that we're giving you. And the pro members, we've got all of the professional development webinars as well. So we've got all the special events and the online course access as well. Okay, so tons of it. If you can afford €10 a month, you free members, and those of you who are not members, and you'd like to support us in our mission to connect the shiatsu world, we'd love to have you as a professional or premium member. And you can just go online onto the website and click this button and find out all about how it's just going to be so amazing for you to be a member with us, because we're having so much fun. Okay, so that's it. That's the end of the webinar, and that's the end of our hour. Thank you so much. Next week, we've got a special professional premium members only version of this, which is we take some of the most popular bits of the successful practice course and we put them together in an energy work exercise similar to today, but more focused on our actual professional practice. So next week, we're going to get our shiatsu practice sorted out. So if you'd like to join us, and then please join up as a professional or premium member if you're not already one. Okay, and that's it. That's the end of the slides. Thank you so much for joining us. Had so much fun. And thanks so much for the whole team who've been so active on the chat. Look at that. Sylvie proposes shiatsu weekend retreat in Doi Doi. That would be really lovely. Yeah. I can remember a webinar about teaching advanced energy work, how to teach this. Are we doing a webinar series on that? We haven't got one planned, Adeline, but that's a good suggestion. Yeah, and Dinah's been answering a lot of them as well. I think. Yep. Okay, we'll bear that in mind. Teaching advanced energy work. Yeah. Okay, we'll see what we can do about that. Okay. Goodbye, everyone, and yeah, I'll see you soon on a free event or a professional premier event. Okay. Happy New Year to everyone.